quality because
Yeah.
when it comes down to what I know from my experience, when it comes down to those large projects, most of from my experience, when there became a housing issue, was on very large emergency responses, right? That's when it was the worst of the worst in my experience. Like when they
Right.
made man camps, the lack of sleep thing. Okay,
Right.
we shouldn't
Hmm.
have to be figuring that out when there's techno. Well, now there's technology that can help, right? And
Right.
it's a safety first and foremost, safety, efficiency, cost, right?
Right.
And we got to be part of the solution here. And at the end of the day, we just want everyone to get home safe, right? And
Right.
I know because it's hard enough to get to when you're out on those jobs, you work hard and long hours, so it's hard enough not to get exhausted, and that compounds. Add
Right.
in if you are in an environment where it affects your sleep. 30 days straight. That was one
Right.
of few man camps I've stayed at.
This was my first experience. This was 4 or 5 years ago. It was my first experience with a man camp. And I walked into a man camp is just a bunch of 18-wheeler trailers that have bunk beds on each side of them. Just you walk in this narrow little walkway, and then there's like four bunk beds high. That's a no-go for me. I'm claustrophobic. I walked in and my shoulders were touching each bunk bed, and I said nah. And I slept in my truck for 4 days.
4 days.
And
Wow.
I
Yeah.
said I will not stay in a man camp. And the hotel life is definitely not very fun at all. It's most of the time. Now sometimes they'll put us in, nicer hotels and but you're still sharing a room with somebody. You're still living out of a bag because there's nowhere to put your clothes.
Right.
There's no where to really do your laundry. And laundry is actually a big thing when it comes to like hurricanes because um we don't want to be working, out here in dirty clothes. But um they've actually tried to put us in some hotels sometimes to where I chose to stay in my truck that night.
Yeah.
You walk into the room and it was just so filthy and disgusting that I was not about to lay my head on that pillow.
Right.
So I chose to sleep in my truck because the hotel was so bad.
When you went to California, how long was the trip?
Hmm. So my first trip out to California, you almost never want to go alone because then you have to pay for all of the costs that go along with that. And part of the thing is like I'm showing up in California. My job, there's two halls in California. My job could be anywhere in the upper half or the lower half of the state. So I can't like get housing ahead of time. I can't plan anything. I show up, I go to the hall, I sign the books, and I wait for a job. They say, okay, here's your job. Is this the one you want? And it's we're working, I think they were working 7/12s. It was $100 a day per diem, and this is the location. You got to be there tomorrow. It's like, all right, cool. That's the job. So now I have to start a brand new job on a brand new system. I don't know anything about it. Luckily, I had a couple buddies with me. And so now we all pile in a car that we rented and we drive to where we're supposed to be with all of our tools, packed in the back. And then we get a local hotel. We split the room. So we got like a hide a bed that we have rolled out, two bedrooms. And then we start our job. And the job is we were building steel lattice towers, which is exhausting work. If anyone has ever built that, they know it's like the steel's beating you up, the tools are beating you up. You're out in the middle of a desert. I think we were in the high desert just outside of LA. And it's like just miserable work. And you come back and you're going to this hotel room with three other guys. There's one bathroom, one shower. You worked for 12 hours, you're in traffic for an hour and a half, and then you get to your hotel. And it's the same morning. So it's like you get very little sleep, you're cranky, you're tired, and this is all just thrown at you. So now you're trying to find housing that is better than what you got, that's closer to the job sites. You don't have to fight traffic as much. You're trying to learn the new system, learn the new tools. There's a new lingo that goes with every regional area that you're at. So they call things different stuff. They have different slang terms. There's different like work practices. So there's just all this stuff that goes with it. And having a system that was designed for us to take housing and make that easy, or better yet, if the company was just like, the job is here and your housing is here, like that would be amazing. That would
Right.
save so many headaches, and that would allow guys that are afraid to make that jump because it's one less obstacle that they have to overcome to get there. And I think that's where you're going to find huge success is when the companies start taking ownership of the fact that these workers need to live somewhere. Because right now they're just like, you want the money, show up.